There are two ways in which any government can proceed. One is a way based on what you and I would call a free society, which is enshrined right at the heart of the American Constitution. The other one is a way which allows only one view, both of economics and politics, in which almost everything is either owned or controlled by the state, including the media, including the ideas, including freedom of discussion and everything. There is no freedom of discussion. Now, between those two ways, the free society and the totally controlled society, there are, of course, variations. I think what we've learned in Britain is that we've gradually, over the last certainly 12 or 13 years, with perhaps a little interruption, gone slowly further and further away from the free society towards something else. At the same time, we've found, I don't find it strange, but some other people do, that we have stopped creating wealth. We've had a large number of increasing restrictions. And you've been finding two things. First, that we are more and more concentrating on redistributing the wealth we've got, rather than creating any more. To create more, you need a slightly freer society, and you need an incentive society. Naturally, when I see that happening, I look with very great alarm to societies which have gone even further left. That is, they've tried to redistribute even more and haven't had the incentives for people working hard on their own account, doing well for their families, and often then being able to create jobs for others. They've produced a much more prosperous society than we have.
We fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to A Radio, and this is The Morning Moment. We're on weekdays, 11:45 Eastern. Follow us on Spreaker.com and click on the like button. This piece was originally to be our 500th episode, but I decided to hold it back for a while. Now, I have done this earlier, so the quality will vary a little bit, and I apologise for that, but it's the content that matters, not the quality. The subject matter, in my mind, is so important here that it cannot be underestimated. This person has done stellar work, and I believe it to be true. It's up to you to make your own mind up about that. But if only half of this is true, if only a quarter of this is true, if only an eighth of this is true, it is terrifying. And it matters not whether you live in the United States, Canada, or any Western country. They have been talking of late of putting controls, curbs on social media. Well, whether they do or whether they don't, it's a question of who controls the controllers? Who says what can be said? Who says who can say what they can say? Those are the real questions. And as we move forward in the 21st century, social media will play an ever larger role in everyone's day-to-day life, and certainly in political life. It stands on a precipice of guiding almost every political thought going forward. What's said on Twitter, what's said on Facebook, or whatever social platform you follow. At the moment, these are clearly left-leaning organisations, but I have no doubt at all, that there will be other ones springing up. And when they do, the balance, they will try and reset the balance. But who's to say what the balance is? That's why I'm doing this piece, so you can make your mind up. Because I, for one, do not think that these individuals have the right to control what you see, hear, and think, let alone what you can say anywhere. Here's the piece. I call this the real truth behind the Democrats and maybe the Liberals. It's a piece done by Ella Cruz. That name might not be familiar, but it will be soon. This is the most amazing expose I have ever seen. I cannot do this justice, but I will try. As always, there will be links on my site, but to be honest, if only half of this is true, then I doubt this link will remain active very long. Seriously. It's known simply as Project Blue. So what am I talking about? I'm going to read excerpts of a document that is being placed on a site in such a way that it's very difficult to copy and thus delete, which is a good thing. The piece comes from Ella Cruz, as I said, and the links will be on my site, but I really think you need to go to it yourself as soon as possible, as soon as I publish this. I'm going to read you excerpts, only excerpts because it's very, very long, but you will get the gist. Here's excerpt number 1. For 15 months, since November 8, 2016 until now, we didn't have a single day without a knife in our hearts and several more in our backs. We have been hammered continuously, harassed and attacked. Soon after the election, that's President Trump, the Russian witch hunt started. Mainstream media didn't waste a second to apply Alinsky's rules on President Trump and his conservative supporters. Ridicule, bash, smear, rip the President of the United States. His candidates became the media, the fake dossier, the Washington Post allegations, the surveillance scandal, and now the porn star consumed our time and energy. 95% of the coverage of the entire media, first on President-elect and then sitting president, was negative. Progressive, arrogant, even ex-president, his wife, his vice president Joe Biden, his attorney general Loretta Lynch, and the FBI director James Comey, national security advisor Susan Rice, and former CIA directors James Clapper and John Brennan, House Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and never lost a chance. None of them ever lost a chance to smear not only the president, but his entire administration, and some of them also attacked his family. Meanwhile, the president was just winning and winning. In this leaked document, Media Matters confesses that it is ruling the entire media, and this confession proves that the media is not independent and has been forced even to refuse to allow the President of the United States calling on their TV shows. Can you imagine the gravity of this confession? In other words, they're blocking him. This leaked document, which has been issued after the election of 2016 and before President Trump takes to the Oval Office, reveals in the slightest details on how Media Matters has organized these attacks. We have never seen and never faced such organized dramatic response and psychopathic efforts coming from the media on a president. Their deleterious attack project has 3 main tasks, each delivered to different sub-organizations named American Bridge, Crew, and Share Blue. The white leaked document was first published in April 2017 in the Free Beacon, but 40 pages of the white document didn't take any attention. Nobody cared. That was why I had to work hard on it, research all the people and the events associated with it, make it understandable and publish it myself. There was no way that other people could recognize the deadly threat by this mafia-style organization. Did you vote for Donald Trump? Did you elect a president who promised to do what you have requested? It doesn't count because Media Matters doesn't want him. Media Matters leader has several times confessed here that they are for Hillary Clinton. Nothing else matters, and they aren't interested in anything else other than her campaign. Her campaign manager was John Podesta. Her media manager was David Brock, one of the closest persons to Podesta. David Brock, by the way, is Media Matters. For Media Matters, any information except the cracked information presented by their chained slaves, CNN, and sub-CNN's army is called serious misinformation. Right-wing media are propagandists inhabiting their social media, and even the highest levels of government clearly talking to Steve Bannon and Breitbart News, who needed to be exposed and discredited. Moreover, the attack on Steve Bannon was precisely mapped from day one. Media Matters used the word squash when describing Breitbart and Bannon, like a sniper precisely zoomed in on a target. The documents revealed how much effort and personnel are working to frame Steve Bannon. Right-wing's media existence for them is harassment by default. Media Matters' premise as announced clearly in this document, is that we should be punished and halted. The same words are applied. Just look at the level of hostility within this Nazi-style vocabulary. The media frenzy we face every day is just an extension of the deep state and the hostility through the dependent slaved media. They fear for their lives. They are clearly saying that we will punish Google, Facebook and other social media if they let these right-wing propagandists run their content freely through their internet environment. Trump will be defeated either through impeachment or at the ballot box in 2020. The balance of power will shift back to the Democrats. That's what they say in the document. Here they brag about implementing pre-warning technologies to prevent the spread of right-wing misinformation. And now in early 2018 they proudly declare their success to create necessary algorithms to shut down conservative profiles and sites. In late February 2018, there were 2 big purges on Twitter, which led to shutting down the conservative accounts claiming to be identified as Russian bots. What really happened was they suspended important conservative accounts and dropped down their followers. Boy, does that sound familiar, folks. When the account was active again, thousands of followers were lost. It was a big celebration all over the left media, labeling us as Russian bots, and the people who still follow these fake news channels don't really know what really happened, and the followers are gone as a result of a shutdown. Hate content is simply what they don't want to spread, and dangerous controversial means they don't agree with you criticizing their politicians as well as their policies. They are now creating thought crime, which means preventing people from feeling in some way at some time. The liberals are authorized to feel offended by anything we do. Therefore, their aggressive actions, which are extensions of their feelings, are also justified. So how does it work when some people are entitled to feel in the way they want and others should be prevented to feel in the way they want? Media Matters is fully Alinskyite. Those are just excerpts from it, and the article continues. I have deliberately taken sections out of this document because it's way too long, but you must see it in its entirety. But doesn't it all fit together? A path where President Trump is attacked every single day, non-stop? You couldn't do that, and I couldn't do it. They are like soldier ants. On their own, harmless, but when they strike as a group, non-stop, they believe nothing and no one can stand in their way. Well, they're wrong. We will continue to expose these people for what they are and who they are. Never take what you see or hear on what I call socialist media, because it's not social media, or any other media for that matter, at face value. Don't use Google to do your searches for the truth. Use something like DuckDuckGo, and when you find it, you will have your eyes open to the biggest attack on us all in history, and in the history of humanity itself. We are all under attack, and we must all fight back wherever we are, because our rights to speak and think and write and comment how we feel about things, how we feel about politics, is under attack, not just in the United States, but in every Western country. This is their goal. It's Media Matters, but it's more serious than that. It's the UN and it's George Soros. This document you must look at, because this is the tip of the iceberg. In Canada, we suffer from Trudeau. In America, you suffer from the media because they're so powerful. In Britain, you suffer from politics because they're so powerful. In other countries, there's other controls. Don't allow them to take away your freedom. Fight back. We have an election in 2019 and we're going to fight back. We're going to fight back. And so should you. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this special. Please take a look at it and we'll be back with another one next time. You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab and email. We're also on Spotify. Just go to the podcast section and type Canadian Politics with a twist and you'll find us. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass on these links. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all our morning moments at Spreaker.com under A Radio. That's EHRADIO, A Radio, and click on the like button. And you can hear a review of our morning moments on WHBJ-DB, News, Talk, Radio on Spreaker.com. Join us and many others. And you can find all our podcasts and Morning Moments at aradio.wordpress.com. Click on the Morning Moments tab.